Hey everybody, welcome back to The Pressing Matters. I'm Scott. Thank you for tuning in today and thank you for your support. When was the last time you had an emotional reaction to an album? Well, this happened to me just recently, playing the original copy I have of Simon & Garfunkel's Bookends. The reason I pulled it out is because I was very curious about the Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab edition that just came out on Supervinyl. I wasn't quite prepared to buy it. I wanted to hear it for myself because I've had some ups and downs with Mobile Fidelity, especially their one-step series. But I was able to borrow a copy from my friend Shawn, and I've listened to both back to back on my new system. The system consists of a VPI Scout with a classic platter upgrade, the JMW Memorial Tone Arm, the HANA ML cartridge. This front end has elevated the sound of the system by leaps and bounds. The HANA ML sounds better than it ever did on the Basis 1400. From there, it goes into my beloved Modrite PH 9.0 phono stage. And the signal there goes to the KN A50T all-tube integrated amp. From there, it goes into the System Audio Pandion speakers, another purchase that really elevated the system to new levels. And I always knew that this was a good sounding album with full of sonic surprises, but I wasn't really prepared for how good it was. My original copy is marked Demonstration on the back. It is the first pressing of this album. It comes with a poster. I found it somewhere for very little money. I didn't pay a premium for it. And it's in beautiful, beautiful condition. It's a 2i Columbia pressing. I'll show you the label and everything in the close-ups. Right from the start, I was like, this is a special album. Sonically and musically, it's fabulous. Roy Halley was the engineer on this session. This was released in 1968, reached #1 on the charts, and yielded a couple of hit singles. I always thought this record had a few great hit singles and the rest was a little bit second tier. I gotta tell you, listening to it today on my system, I didn't feel that way at all. It was riveting from start to finish. The writing is fabulous, really, really interesting, and the engineering almost steals the show. Roy Halley is the one who engineered most of these Simon & Garfunkel albums, I think all of them actually, and he really went to town on this album. It starts out with Bookends theme. So the first part of the album, the first side, is bookended by the Bookends theme. It's a soft guitar intro, acoustic guitar intro. Sounds beautiful on the original pressing. From there, you're treated to the sound of a Moog synthesizer and a spark of energy, and you're realizing the depth that's apparent on this original pressing. The bass response is deep. The sound field is full and arrayed across the front of the soundstage. It's so, so beautiful. I am so glad I have this original pressing. It was a great benchmark to evaluate the new cut from Mobile Fidelity. Save the Life of My Child is the second cut, and it really is a standout. From that brilliant opening, you're treated to wonderful percussion, beautiful guitar sound, excellent vocal quality, and then a wonderful sonic effect happens. These gospel voices rise up from different points in the soundstage just to the heavens in kind of a ghostly way, and it's just amazing. Beautiful, beautiful sound. Really excellent production touches throughout the album. That's one of them. That song will win you over, and you'll be interested to listen to the rest of the record. It segues into America, which we all know is a classic song. And America just struck a chord with me. Maybe it's what's going on in America today, but I really was so moved by it. I was almost in tears when I heard this on the original pressing. And I was going to make sure I looked out to see if I had the same emotional response when I played the Mobile Fidelity. From there, America has excellent layering of the vocals, harmonies, a big drum sound. So occasionally throughout that track, you hear that drum effect punctuating the soundstage, and it's beautiful, beautifully rendered on this. The organ underpinning is perfect, gives it just a nice weight and texture. The guitars sparkle, the climax really will bring a tear to your eye. I was so moved by that track. It's a classic for a reason, and just beautiful. Another interesting sonic touch happens at the beginning of the next track. So you hear a sound effect. There's sound effects used here and there throughout this album, most notably on the last couple of tracks. But on this one, there's the sound of a match strike and the lighting of a cigarette and then exhale. Cigarettes are mentioned a couple of times in this album, so I think Paul Simon was probably a smoker at this point. But the vocal clarity on that is excellent. The guitar is breathtaking. It's beautiful. Art has a solo line in this that just sounds angelic and slightly ghostly. It's a little bit bathed in an echo. And again, these little touches elevate these songs to heights that I didn't even realize. Beautiful, beautiful sound. That is on the track Over. I'm sorry, I didn't mention the name of it. The last two tracks, one is a sound collage called Voices of Old People. This I always thought was kind of the weak point in this album, but when taken in the context of the overall album, it gives it a poignancy that I think is part of the structure of the first side. You hear people, it sounds like they're maybe taken in different old age homes, just a couple of words from each person, and then it goes into the last track on the side, which is Old Friends. And I've always discounted Old Friends, but not this time. After hearing the sound collage, it goes into Old Friends, and it's just a beautiful song, beautifully constructed, orchestrated, lovely sound on the strings, just perfect. It's very odd at the end how it almost sounds like the sound is twisting, like a little bit of a strangeness to the end of the cut. But boy, what a side. This is beautiful. Sound is exquisite on the original pressing. You really couldn't imagine it could be done any better. Let's see. Oh, on the end of the track, Old Friends, there is a recap of the Bookends theme at the very end. And there are some lyrics that have a lot of S's. So there is a little bit of sibilance at the end. And that's pretty much on the tape, I believe. The second side has Fakin' It, Punky's Dilemma, Mrs. Robinson, and Hazy Shade of Winter. These were not part of the concept of the album. They were other tracks that were placed on the second side. But it works. Fakin' It, I've always passed by here. It's so creative and so great. It has this little psychedelic vibe to it. It ebbs and flows, the organ and the guitar, the drums, the hand claps, the sense of space is really beautiful. The vocal harmonies are great. That's one of the things about this album is it has wonderful spatial effects. And I was really looking forward to see how that would be rendered on the Mobile Fidelity version. Excellent vocals, fantastic lyrics. Punky's Dilemma is really cute, creative song. The writing is very interesting. Dreamy, kind of psychedelic sound, folky, huge sense of space. The song Mrs. Robinson, of course, is very familiar. That was the biggest hit from this album and really carried it to #1. Fabulous chunky guitar sound, heavenly harmonies, very special. And it goes on and on. There's a couple of other tracks. Hazy Shade of Winter was an older song that they brought out for this album, presenting them probably at their most rock and roll. And finally, At the Zoo is a very interesting way to end the album. And the whole thing is just magical. Beautiful, magical album. I think it's their top, really. I like the follow-up, Bridge Over Troubled Water, especially because they allow Art to have more solo moments. But I think the writing here is top-notch, and the sound production is wonderful. The original pressing, you really don't believe it could be beat. And really, I said, Mobile Fidelity has a lot to live up to here. This is the original pressing, by the way. You can see here it says demonstration. Comes with a poster. I'll put the dead wax inscriptions in the description box, but this immediately is going into my most treasured albums. I love the original pressing, no question. Mobile Fidelity did a beautiful job with this jacket. It's a nice heavy jacket. The pressing, I guess, is done at the new plant. Fidelity pressing. And it's great, just like the top RTI pressings of the past. Very clean, very beautiful, flat, gorgeous slab of vinyl. Super vinyl. It's the clear Neotech formula vinyl. This retails for $60. I said, that's a lot of money for this, but this is the first, not the first super vinyl I tried, but the first of the recent batch. This is mastered from a copy tape to DSD to lathe and all that chain of events. I don't really care about that. I want to know how it sounds. This was done by Krieg Wunderlich with help from Shawn Britton. I found on the one step of Bridge Over Troubled Water, it was a little too tweaky. That's not the case here. This is a faithful transfer, beautifully done. It retains most of the magic of the original pressing and maybe does it one better. There's extra clarity here and there, but it's never at the expense of the overall musical picture. Beautiful, beautiful sound. I'm not going to go through every specific, but if you are interested in this album and finding an original might be a little hard. Certainly the mono is elusive, but this is the stereo edition. You can't go wrong with the Mobile Fidelity. It retains all of the emotion and magic of the original and gives you just a touch more clarity and definition and space. And I don't think it changes the character of the record at all. I think they worked very carefully to tastefully do this, and it's a big success. One of the best records that I've heard from Mobile Fidelity in some time. Really nice. They did the poster as well in here. Just a lovely package. Really, really good. I was impressed, and I did shed a tear during America and even during Mrs. Robinson. Good news for those who are searching for a pressing of this. The Mobile Fidelity is highly recommended and is an easy win for Mobile Fidelity. Beautiful job. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Scott for the Pressing Matters. Have a great day.